Hey guys, so before we get into the video, this is the end result of what we're going to be making in it. And yeah, during this live stream, I just want to say we do make a few mistakes while we're going through this live stream. But that's just how it is when you're developing stuff. And since this is live, I didn't cut out the parts where I made mistakes. There's only one part in this video that I cut out where I needed to go do some research about something. But yeah guys, enjoy the video. Hey guys, so we're doing another live project today. This time we're just going to be working with the APIs. So here I found this board API. I just searched on Google board API and I clicked the first link here. And also I'll link this page in the description or the comments or something. So here you can see it gives us an API example here. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in the browser. So let me copy this. And I didn't copy this get part of it, only the address here. So let's go paste this in the browser. And okay, this is what that API returns. So I'm going to click on Pretty Print here. And yeah, these are the properties in the API. So we have activity and then it gives us some activity here, and then availability and all of these properties, and they all have either numbers or strings associated with them. So yeah, we'll leave this open for now. Let's go create a folder or something somewhere. So I'm going to open up my folders here. I'll create this in the documents folder, HTML. Let's create a new folder here. We'll call it Playing with APIs. And yeah, let's open up this folder in VS Code. So I right click in it, open in terminal. And then code and a dot. Okay, so now we have it open in VS Code, but we're still not ready to start typing our code yet. I'm going to create a new file here and I'm just going to call it notes. And we'll write the stuff that we need to remember in here. So firstly, let me copy that API and paste it in here. And then we'll copy the sample output here. Or actually, let's not copy the sample output. Let's copy the specific things that we're interested in. So I think activity is one that we want. It tells us. So basically this API, I forgot to mention what it does. When we make a call to it, it just gives us a random activity that we could do. So that's why it's called the board API. If you're bored, it tells you what you can do. So yeah, let's copy this. Just this first line where it says activity. We'll paste it because that's something we're interested in. Next, it tells us availability here. I'm not even sure what this number means, so we don't care about this one. Type. Yeah, let's copy that. Why not? And let's also take participants. We don't really need. Price, no. Accessibility. We could take it if we wanted, but I'm not going to. Duration, no, not really. Kid friendly we'll take as well because yeah, we can mark out whether the activity it gives us is okay for kids or not. Then at the bottom here we have a key. I guess this is the ID of this activity here. And I'm guessing if we refresh, it gives us a different activity and a different key down here. Yes, it gives us a different activity here. And I think the last key started with a 9, so this is definitely a different key here. And yeah, we don't really need any other properties from here. Let's go back and see if there's anything else that we might want from this API. Okay, so we can filter the API if we want, but we just want random stuff. and gives us the options here. So this is a bit important. We might use this. I'm going to copy it, and here for type, I'm going to say these are the different types. Okay, and actually let's put on the next line because it looks a bit ugly here. Let's space this out. This is just a notes file, by the way. Don't worry about syntax or anything here. I'm just writing down notes so that we can remember it when we start working. Okay, and we can also get an activity by the key if we wanted. So I'm going to ignore this for now. We might come back and add in a button later that allows the user to see a specific activity if they want to, but I don't think we're going to do that. Yeah, so for right now, all we want to pull from this API is the activity. So it's going to give us a random activity each time that looks like this. And then the type, it's going to give us the type of whatever activity it gave us. So here for this example, it says create and follow a savings plan. And the type here it gives us is busy work. So that's the type of this activity. And then these are the different types that it could give us. So we can do something with this, like say show a different icon depending on what type it is. Now that we know all the types in advance, we can say, for example, if type is equal to recreational, show this icon, or if it's equal to social, show this icon. But yeah, I don't even have any icons right now. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Anyways, then we check if it's kid friendly, true or false. And we can put something on our front end, like a check mark or something, to show whether it is kid friendly or not. So yeah, I think this is all we need for now. Also, let me copy that link to get a specific filter by a specific type. I don't think we're going to use this, but let's just copy it just in case. And I'll say down here, filter by type. Okay, so now let's go create a index.html file here. And I'll also create a style.css. And I accidentally made a folder there. I'm going to delete this. Style.css. And then I'm also going to make a app.js. So okay, I have index.html, style.css, and app.js. Now in the index file here, I'm going to put my exclamation mark and press tab, and that will give us the HTML template here. And then in this top head section here, I'm just going to import the CSS file. So I'll say link and press tab, and then here for the href, I'll type style.css. So our CSS file is linked now. And then in the body at the bottom here, I'm going to make some space, and I'll do script, and inside of the opening script tag, I'll do src is equal to, and we named the JavaScript file app.js. So I'll just save this. And okay, now everything is set up correctly. So just to test that everything's working here, I'm going to make an h1 tag here, and I'll just say some text, and inside of here I'm going to make an ID, and I'll set the ID equal to main here. And then in our JavaScript here, I'm just going to say document, I accidentally wrote that, document dot get element by ID main dot inner HTML is equal to, let's say, Theo here. So if everything is connected properly, we shouldn't see the some text, we should see Theo instead. So let me run this index file with live server here. Okay, and it says Theo here, so everything is connected perfectly. Now let's head back and let's start designing the main, like the area that we're going to put our information in. So let's think about it. We'll head back to our notes. We want the activity. So we're going to have one main box at the top where the activity is in. And then we want the type and whether or not it's kid friendly. So the way I was thinking we do this is we have separate boxes displayed on the page for each thing we're marking out here. But really this kid friendly thing here is only going to be a checkbox. And busy work, well, we could use an icon for it, but then we're going to have to go download one icon for each of these things here. So yeah, let's actually go look if we can find an icon for each of these quickly. I'm going to go to SVG SIL. I don't know how you pronounce that word, SILH. And I just want to see, because I'm not sure if this allows you to download in PNG format or not. Okay, so let's say book first. And yeah, this was no help at all. Okay, let's just search free icons here. Download icons. Let's try this link. Book. Okay, it looks like this works properly. Let's just download this. And yeah, looks like it works. So I'm going to create a folder in our project now. New folder. I'll call it images here. And I'm going to drag that book icon into here. And let me click on the name here and press F2 to rename it. And I'll just name this book.png. And yeah, let's head back to the notes here. So we have education done. I'm going to put a check mark here. Now we want recreational. I'm not sure what we can put for that. Let's search that word and see what comes up. Okay, so it looks like sort of outdoor activities if I'm not mistaken. So let's use one of these. Let's do bicycle here. Okay, and I'll stick to this blue colored scheme here because the first icon that we got is in that color scheme. Just gonna hit download here. And let's go to that file. So again, we'll copy it into the folder here. And I'm gonna select that file and press F2. We'll name this REC, short for recreational. And yeah, we'll put a check mark next to this. And next, let's look for social here. So I'll just search for group. I'm looking for a group of people. And yeah, this one looks good. I don't think there's anything matching the color scheme we have. So yeah, I'll just use this one. Let's download it. Again, we find it in our folder here, and we want to move it into our images folder here. And I'll select it, I'll press F2, and we'll name this group.png. Okay, so we have that done. Check mark. Next, let's look for charity here. So I'll just search charity and see what comes up. I think this is a good icon here. Again, we can't match the color scheme here. Usually what I would do is open up something like Inkscape and draw the icons myself. But just to save us time here, I'm just downloading them from here. This icon down here also looks good. But I think I'm going to stick to the one we selected first. Again, we know the steps. We find it, we put it in the folder, and we rename it. Name it charity.png. We put our check mark. And yeah, next let's do cooking. So here I'm going to search for cooking. And let's use this icon here, it looks cool. So we download it, we move it into the folder here. We select it and rename it to cooking. Close this. And we'll add in our check mark here. Relaxation, I think that's like relaxing if I'm not mistaken. Let's go Google this quickly. Oh, it says relaxation. Sorry, I misread that. Yeah, so for that we can put like lazy here. This one looks good. Let's download it. We put in our images folder, and I'm going to rename this to relax.png. And yeah, we'll put our check mark there. And then here's busy work. So I'm going to, we'll put our check mark there already. We're just going to get the last one now. So I'm going to search busy here. Okay, and we'll just use this icon here. Actually, it's a bit small. Let's see if we can find something better. Let's search busy icon here to get some ideas. Okay, let's search for tasks. This checklist kind of looks good. Yeah, let's just go with the checklist. Can always find a better image later. And you can use whatever images you want. I'm just picking my own here. So F2, we'll call this busy.png. And yeah, now we have everything that we marked out in the notes here. We have images for them. So in the index here, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to have one box here, and then at the top it will say the activity, and at the bottom it will have an icon for what type of activity it is, and then next to it will have a check mark for whether it's child friendly or not. So also let me get a check mark and an X icon here. I use this for the check mark. So I'll rename this check.png, and now we need like a cross sign. So I'll search wrong here. Let's just search X. And yeah, we'll just use the square here. So let's download this. We'll move it into the images folder here, and I'll rename this to like x.png. Should be fine. Let's close these. And okay, let's start creating our HTML page here. So I'm going to create a div that will contain everything. And I'm just going to name the div. I'm going to give it an ID of container here. And then inside of the div, we're going to have a, let's say, a text field at the top. Let's just do text area here. But I actually don't want a text area because, okay, let me show you what I'm trying to say. If we do a text area and I put some text inside of this, when we view this in the browser here, the user can like resize this and really messes up the browser how it looks. I want this at a fixed size. So let's get rid of this. Let's make a div in here, and I'll call this div, let's give it a class of, what can we call it? Main, yeah, or let's call it activity here. Okay, because that makes sense. This div is where the activity is going to go inside of. And I'm going to put one item inside of this div. It's going to be an h1, and it's, let's just write placeholder inside here, or let's write activity. And then below this we'll create another div here, and this one is going to have the two images. So inside of here we'll do image, and by default here let's have a default image that we can show. So let's go back here, default. Yeah, let's use this cog here. So okay, I downloaded it. Gonna put it in the folder now, and I'll just rename this. Select the file, press F2, and I'll rename it to default.png here. So here I'm going to get rid of this alt, and for the source I'm just going to put images/default.png. So that's going to be the starting image. So when we just open up the app for the first time and there's no images in here, that's what's going to show. And yeah, after this image we're going to put one more image in the same div here, and it's going to be image, let's leave it at the check mark as default. So images / checkmark, and I'll get rid of alt here. We'll save this. Let's go check out the page here. So okay, we have activity at the top here, and then we have our gear and our checkmark. So let's firstly resize this checkmark and the gear thingy here, and then we'll come back and arrange everything in the CSS. So here I'm going to add width, and we'll set this to like 64. Okay, let's try 128. Yeah, that looks fine, and we'll do the same thing down here. Width 128. Okay, and let's give this div a class. We'll say icons here. So now let's head into the CSS file. Let me close this images folder here. In the CSS file, we'll start by styling the main container, which contains everything. So I'm going to say, actually we used an ID here of container. So we need to use the hash here for ID. Here. And I'm going to do margin. Now we can do margin on all sides, or just say the word margin here, and that adds some space all over, left, right, up and down. So I'm going to add a margin of like, let's say 10% here. And what that will do is it will push everything 10% away from the left and the top. And also if there was enough content here that it reached the end of the page, it would be 10% away from this side as well. And the good thing about using percentage is that if we resize this window, it will still stay 10% away from there. If we use the fixed size, this wouldn't be adjusting as we move the window. So okay, let's head back. Let's do border of 1 pixel, solid black. Okay, let's do height. Let's do 80 VW, or VH, I mean, sorry. Okay, that's a bit too big. And yeah, let's not even worry about the height right now. We can always come back and even adjust this border later. And inside of here, I'm going to add padding, because right now if you look at it, like everything is right up against this border. That's not what I want. So we'll add padding of 5% here. Okay, that's starting to look good. And then we want, so I'm going to leave a line here because now I'm talking about something else. I want to do display flex, and then justify content center. Okay, so everything is centered now. And then I want flex direction. We want column here. Now before I save this, notice what I did here. I put everything on the same line. So this is flex direction row. But what we want is activity on the top and these two under it. So we're going to do flex direction column. And if I save this, it now puts them one above the other. And here I don't want justify content anymore. Now I want align items. Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted. Now if you're wondering why setting them in column puts them one above each other, and yet these two things here are still on the same line, it's because we're setting display column on this main div here. And if you really look inside of it, there's only two things. There's this div and this div. And both of the icons are inside of this div. So when we put display column on the main div, it's putting this one at the top and this one below it doesn't care what's inside of those things because they're not directly inside of this div. So there's only 2 items in here, and it put them one above each other, and that's what we see here. I hope that makes sense. Let's go back to style here, because here where I added the border, I also want to do a shadow. So I think it's box shadow. 0, 0, and then let's do 10 pixels here. And yeah, that looks nice. And let's try adding 5 pixels as well here. And no, that doesn't look good at all. Let's change it to 2. Yeah, I like how this looks. Let's save this. Next, what can we do? We'll add a button in here, I think, to get a new activity. So here I'm going to add a third div here. Actually, we don't even need a div here. We'll just okay, let's leave it as a div because we might add more things in here than just the get new activity button. So I'm going to put a button in here, and it's just going to say get activity. Okay, and we'll give this div a class of buttons. So yeah, that looks fine. Also in the style here, where we did the display flex and stuff, I'm just going to put gap, and I'll put like 5 pixels here, just so that everything is a bit spaced out. Actually, let's do like 20 pixels. Still not good. Let's remove that gap. We'll just directly add like margin top and margin bottom to these items. So the next thing we want to style is the activity at the top. So I'm going to select that here. We'll do dot activity. I think that's how I named it, activity. Yeah. And here we want width, we'll set to 80%, and then height will be, it doesn't really matter what the height is. We'll set a border of, let's say, 1 pixel solid, and we'll make this like green, just so that we can see it. For now, I'll pick a better color soon. And yeah, this looks good. And then text align center. And yeah, that looks good. So let me actually make a background color here as well. And I want something like this aquamarine, but it doesn't really match well with the color we have here. So I'm gonna do like a darker gray. Okay, that's kind of better, but it looks ugly. Let me select my own color here. Just want like a slightly darker color than white. Let me save this, head back. And yeah, that looks good. Next we'll have a margin bottom here. Margin dash bottom. And I'll set this to like 20 pixels. Okay, so that looks good. And next we want the icons here. Yeah, it doesn't really look good, but hey, I'm not the best at styling things. This outline here, we can make it black again, I don't know. Okay, it looks, now it doesn't look that bad, but it looks like an old design. Usually when I do stuff like this, I use either Bootstrap or Tailwind, which has pre-made styles in it for me. I know I'm not an artist, so that's why I don't bother creating the styles myself. It's best to just use pre-made styles if you're not an artist yourself. Next, let's do buttons here. No, we didn't do buttons. Next, we did icons next. So for the icons here, I just wanna like space them out a bit more. So I'm going to do display, flex, save this, go back. Okay, it works properly. And then gap. Sorry, I typed that wrong. Gap. We'll do like 50 pixels here. And yeah, that stays no matter how we resize this, I believe. Okay, but I know I'm showing you that it stays the same when we resize it, but actually this app I'm designing is meant to just work in full screen mode. When I design things that are responsive, I always use either Bootstrap or Tailwind, because it allows me to change the design based on what the screen size is. But yeah, for this app, we're building it to just work in a computer browser, and it's meant to be at full screen like this. So this is the way it's meant to look. And yeah, I don't really need to add anything else here right now. So I'm going to go down and do buttons next. And okay, here we want a margin top. Keep forgetting to write top and bottom here. Yeah, 120 pixels as well. That looks good. But what I actually want to do is change the size of that specific button. So not the div here, but the button itself. So I'm going to say dot buttons and then button here to target that specific button. And actually let me give it an ID because we might put more than one button in here. I'll put ID is equal to get dash activity. So hash get dash activity. Okay, now do padding 5 pixels. Save this, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, we made it a bit bigger there. Let's even make it 10 pixels. And okay, background color. Let's do red. And then color will do like gold here. And that looks very ugly again. But hey, I don't care. I can't make a good design here. I'm not good at designing things. Let me try something here. Let's do this color. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that fits a bit better with this design here. Maybe now let's change the text color on it. Nope, let's go with like red. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to change the font dash weight to bold here. And yeah, it actually does look good. Well, as good as I can make it with just plain CSS. But yeah, that's all we're going to do for CSS right now. Now what we want to happen is when we click this get activity button here, it should show us some activity here. So let's go to index here. Oh, we want to go to app.js here. And let me remove this. Okay, so let me first store the button here. So we're going to say let get button equal to document dot get element by ID, and I think the ID we used here is get activity. So I'm going to copy this, and paste it into app.js here. And okay. So now whenever we want to talk about that button, we can just use this variable we created. We don't have to say document.getElementById every time. Yeah, and what do we want to do with that button? We want to create a function down here, and we'll call it getActivity. And up here at the top, we want to attach the event listener to this button. So we want to say getButton.addEventListener, and we'll say click here, then put a comma here, and then the function we want to call is getActivity. So okay, let me have something to drink quickly. I've been talking for a while now. Okay, so we're back in the getActivity function. What were we doing here? Oh, we just wanted to fetch that activity. So I'm going to make some space here so that everything is nice and neat. And we're going to do fetch. And in here I'm going to put that address we copied down in notes. So this is the address we want to fetch from. I'm going to copy it. And in app.js here, I'm going to open my quotes and paste it in. And yeah, this fetch statement should now get us the same thing that we saw when we accessed the API in the browser. So this. And I just noticed I left all those images opened here. Okay, so it should give us this information here. Now we want to chain on .then here. And in here I'm going to create an arrow function. To create an arrow function, basically if you don't know this, you can either create a function this way, function myfunc or whatever, or you can just like put your brackets here, and next to it you put an equals to and a greater than sign, and then you put your curly braces here, and this is the same thing. This is a function as well. Now we can go one more step ahead, and instead of putting this curly braces here, we can just type the code directly here. But what this means is if we type code directly here, whatever we type here is like saying return and this. So if for example here I type get button, it's the same as if I did return get button. It's just an even shorter way of doing it. So here I know there's only one line of code that I want to write, and I want to return it as well. So I don't need to put those curly braces in here. I'll just put what I want to return. So here where we're taking a parameter, I'm going to call this response, and where we're returning something, I'm going to say response.json, and this is a function, so I use my brackets here. And okay, instead of, if you've seen this before, you know how short this is compared to the other way of doing it, where you have to write then, put your brackets, make a new line, create a function, all of that, just to return the JSON here. So this is a way quicker way of doing it. On the next line here, we'll do .then again. And this time we'll do the same arrow function, but we do want the curly braces here. And as a parameter here, we're going to take data. And this data is now the actual data that's coming back from the API. So this data is going to have this inside of it. All of this. And what we're interested in is the activity. And yeah, whatever we took down in our notes here. So let's create a new variable, let, and we'll call this activity. I don't think we used that variable anywhere else, did we? yeah, let activity, or let me name it activity display. Just because I don't know, my autocorrect gave me the word activity, and I'm a little worried there's already a JavaScript function called activity, and that's why it gave me that. And if there is already one and I tried to name a variable activity, it's going to give me an error. So instead I name this activity display here. So in the index file here, let's look at this activity here. I'm going to give this a ID here, and we'll call this activity display as well, just so that it makes sense, it's all the same thing. And here I'll say document dot get element by ID, and remember the ID here was the same as this name here. So I'll copy this and paste it in here. And okay, now we have the activity here, so we want to do activity display dot inner HTML is equal to 1 equals to sign. I accidentally put 2 there. Data dot, what was it, activity? Yeah, activity here. Data dot activity. So I'll save this, and let's go see if that button actually works now. So I'll go to our page, I'll click the button. Okay, let's look in the console here. Okay, so I went around digging and I found that that API actually doesn't allow us to fetch it from a web page like this. So it only allows fetching it like directly from the browser. I closed that page already, but yeah, it only allows us to fetch it if we paste this URL in a browser, or if we try and fetch it from the terminal like this. It gave me the results here. But I actually found the site here called Cause Proxy, and basically just copy this link here. Let me copy it, and we go into our notes here and we paste it down below. And all we have to do here is replace this example URL here with the URL we're trying to reach, and it will fix our cause error. So I deleted that. I'm just going to copy this, and in our app.js here where we have the URL, I actually pasted it in just before that. So I'm going to delete it and show you what I did. We have the URL of the API here. I copied this up to the equals to sign here, and I pasted it in here. And yeah, now it's all correct. I'm going to save this. I'll put this link as well in the comments or the description. And yeah, let me save notes now, and let's head back to the page and test it out. So now if I click activity here, we get an activity in our box here. So okay, that's great. Now let's go back to our code here, index.html. What do we want to do next? We want these two icons here to update, whether it's a so we want the first icon to update to one of the icons from here, and we want the second icon here to have either a check mark or an X, depending on whether it's made for kids or not. So okay, these need to have IDs as well, so I'm going to give this an ID of icon here. This is just icon. This class up here is icons with an S, and also this is a class and this is an ID, so they don't conflict with each other. And then here I'm going to add an ID as well, and I'll call this kids here. So let's head back to the app.json here, and I'm going to create a new variable at the top. We'll call this kids, and we'll set it equal to document.getElement by ID. And we just call this kids here. Okay, and I'm going to copy this down. The next one we called icon here, and I put icon there as well. Okay, so now we have access to all the elements that we want to change here. So once we get the data here, we update that to display the activity. And then now let's change this icon next. So I'm going to make some space here. And let's do select. Select. Why is that doing that? And I'm going to put, what do we want in here? Data dot, what was it called? Let me copy that and paste it in the browser again. Okay, we want type here. Data.type. Then we use our curly braces here and we say case. And we put our colon here. And for the case we want okay, let's go through these cases one by one. So first, if it's educational, we want case educational. We want to do icon dot src, I think it is. Yeah, src is equal to images slash book dot png, and that's just the icon we have in here, book.png. And I think I just did something wrong here. Let me, okay, I think I did the select statement wrong here. Let me just go Google that quickly. I forgot to switch, not select, sorry. I'm used to using other languages. Okay, so this is fine here. Let me just save this and test our page. So I'm going to hit this until we get an educational one. And actually, let me also console.log the type here so that we can just confirm it's working or not. Data.type. Let's reload here. Open up our console. Okay, this is educational. It's education, not educational. See, so that's why we need to do things like console.log to make sure we're checking the correct things here. Or we could have just been clicking forever waiting for an educational case to come. But no, the type is actually education. So yeah, click this and now the book icon appears. And now it's actually music, but the reason why this icon doesn't change is we didn't set anything yet to happen if that is not the case. And yeah, let me close this. So yeah, you always want to check and make sure if something is not working. Don't be afraid to Google it, even if you're like good at coding. I've coded for a long time and I just made this silly mistake here of using case instead of switch, select instead of switch. Yeah. Always head to Google first when you make a silly error like that. So we need to say break here, and then we'll put in our next case here, which is, let's see what was next there. Recreational. So I'm going to copy it so that I don't spell it wrong this time. Put our quotes and paste that inside. And we put our colon. And yeah, now I basically just want to copy this code here. Copy it, paste it down here. Instead of book, this time we want rec, I think we call it rec.png. Okay, so I saved this. Let's go see if it's working. Yeah, we got our rec icon here. So this is a recreational activity. And now I'm just going to select this whole thing, copy it down. And the next thing we want to do here is social. So let me copy that. Social. And I think I named the icon group here, group.png. So I'll just rename this group.png. Select everything again, bring it down. And the next thing we want is charity here. So copy that. Paste it here. And yeah, we named the file charity.png here. So I'm going to save this. And now let's click it a few times. See, we're getting different icons for each thing here. So yeah, select it again. Bring it down. Next we want cooking here. So I'll select this. Now select cooking here. And cooking up here as well. Actually, cooking is not the name of our image. We named it... Oh, we did name it cooking. So okay, that mistake wasn't actually a mistake. The file is called cooking.png. Next we want relaxation. So I'm going to copy this, paste it here. And what did we name the image here? Relax.png. Okay. And I think now we're doing the last one, which was busy work. Copy this, paste it here, and then we named the image, what did we name it? Busy.png. Save this, and now we should get a different icon for every single thing here. So this is a group activity. This is also a group activity. Now we have a relaxation activity. This is recreational, I think. And yeah, everything is working well here. So this is for busy work, I think. And then here for the check mark, now we want to start doing that. So above the switch statement here, I'm going to put 2 slashes and I'm going to say for icon. And then at the bottom of the switch statement, to find the bottom, select this tag up here. Don't select it, just put your mouse there, and it will mark out the closing tag here. So below this, we want another switch statement, not a select statement. I think select is from Python if I'm not mistaken. That's the mistake I made earlier. So this switch statement is for data dot, let's see what it was, kid friendly. Just going to copy that. Data dot kid friendly. Let's open our curly braces here and case. Now what does it return here? True or false? Okay, so we don't need to use a switch statement here. We can just use an if. If data dot kid friendly. So this here is for if it is kid friendly. We want kid.src. No, not kids. Kid dot. That's what I hate about VS Code autocorrect. Sometimes I don't want it to correct what I'm typing. Kid.src is equal to images slash check dot png. Don't forget that .png there. At the top of the file here, this is kid. Oh, we didn't name it kid, sorry. Autocorrect was correct there. I was wrong. So yeah, up here we got kids, and it's this element document.getIdKids. If we look at it in the HTML here, it's this one here that displays the check mark. So we're saying if it is kid friendly, then make the source the checkmark image here. And then we'll put an else statement down here. And we'll say kids.src is equal to images/x.png. I think that's what we named it here. Yeah, x.png. And I'll also console.log for kids here. Console.log data.kid friendly. Yeah. So let me open up the console here. Let's click this button. It says true there. Let's click it until we get false. Okay, now we got false here. And you can see it's displaying this X mark here. So that's pretty cool. It's exactly what we wanted. And yeah, this app is basically done now. All we have to do is style it up a bit. I'm not going to do that on the stream. I'm not good at styling things, to be honest. And I think you can already tell I'm not good at styling things just by looking at this page here. Usually I use a framework to style it for me. But yeah. One more thing we can do is, since we have this filter by here, actually I don't feel like doing that right now, but actually that's some work that you could do if you want to work on this after this video. Select a few buttons for each of these categories here, and then use a variable that stores this URL in it. Actually not this URL, the URL where we filter by the type. And then depending on, where's it here? Here. So this is the URL where we filter by type, and you can see here at the end the type is one of these types here. Here by default it's education. So if I viewed this, it would always give me an education one. So if you want to, create a few buttons for each of these and then use this as the URL, and depending on which button they press, you can change what's here to give you a different type. I'm not going to do this though. Next, what can we do? Let's add some text here at the bottom. So I'm just going to say p tag here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have to put this in a div as well. Am I? Let's see what we have in icons here. Flex. Yeah, I'm going to have to put this in a div. Div. Open it up and we'll put our first icon in there. And then I'll make a space here, put another div. And we'll put our second for kids icon in there. The reason why I'm putting this in divs here is because I want what I write after this to be under it, not next to it. And this main div here is going to put everything next to each other, which I don't want. So here I'm going to do, let's do a p tag, and I'm just going to say icon for now. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll do a p tag, and here I can just say for kids. Okay, I don't need to change this later on, but this text here I will change later on. Gonna refresh, and yeah, it's kind of right. I'm going to put class here, and I'm going to call this I already called icons here. I'm just gonna name this thing. Honestly, I can't think of a name right now. And I'm gonna copy the same class and put on the div down here as well. And I'm going to styles here, say dot thing. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is I'm going to do display flex. I'm going to say justify content center. Let's head back. Nope, I forgot to do flex direction column, and okay, instead of justify center here, we want align item center. Yeah, and that looks perfect here. Everything is lined up nicely. The only thing we might want to do is dot thing, the p tag in it. We want that to have font weight bold. And yeah, that looks nice. So this p tag right here, I'm going to call it, I'll give it an ID of icon, no, let's call it type. Okay. And in the app.js right at the top, I'll create another variable here. We'll call this icon type. We'll set it equal to document dot get element by ID, and we'll call this, what did we call it? I forgot. I just typed it and I forgot. It's type. Sorry, I'm recording this like close to midnight, that's why I'm blanking out and stuff here. So we now have that in icon type here, and then in each of these switch statements here, I'm going to update it to, actually I don't need to do it there, I can just do it up here. We do icon type is equal to data.type. Save this, let me head back and see if it works. Now we made a mistake here. If you didn't catch it, we're meant to do icon type dot inner HTML. Save it. Yep, it says social down here, recreational, and it's giving us the correct thing here. And here it says for kids. That never needs to change because that's always what this check mark is for. And we get something that's not for kids now. Go to the gym. And yeah, that's all we're going to do for this app for now. Let me inspect here and head to the console. We're still printing out something here, so let's get rid of that console statement. And yeah, the only thing we need to update on this is the styling. Right now I don't feel like updating the styling myself. You can always do it yourself if you want to. I might do it later on outside of the stream and then upload it to GitHub. But yeah, for now everything works, it's functional. Even though it doesn't look pretty, it's functional. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.